That was entirely too positive. Because nothing positive.
You're a positive person.
Hey, I did want to ask you one thing. So for whatever reason, I don't know what your email has looked like, but I've gotten a lot of feedback, negative feedback about the bridge being closed from a smattering of fans, I guess you would say, that are finding access from the north side to the south side at the end of the game.
Is this via Twitter?
No.
Okay.
These are actual emails.
No,
I can share them. I'm assuming you've gotten a selection.
We've gotten a few, but honestly, we've been able to help people through. Part of the process is them navigating their pathway, right? Because anytime you make a change, people have to learn new pathways, and that's the big piece of it. Is if you're coming from south to north, what's the best way to go? Coming from north to either way. But you can go through Tate Center, you can come down Lumpkin, you can come to East Campus. So really, it's just a learning process during those first 4 games. So we've had a few people that we've been able to help and guide, but the positive of that is encompassing that space and now having that a part of game day, new areas to vend, so much more square footage that we can access. In a stadium that was built in 1929, adding square footage like that for vending and other things is tremendously valuable. So yes, there's always be some negatives, but the pros far outweigh the cons.
Specifically, I guess it was rainy that day, and there's the bridge, the stairs that go up from the lower thing to Tate, and people were slipping and stuff going up there. So if somebody's on the north, sitting in the north, that needs to get to their parked car in the south.
The best thing I would tell them on a rainy day like that would be to go through the Tate Center and take the elevator down. Safest way to go. Just make that right by the bookstore, the left Tate Center, elevator down. And that's what I would invite them to do is reach out to our facility staff, and we're glad to talk anyone through their plan as parking, tailgating, where they're trying to get to. We're glad to walk anyone through that process.
What's been the general feedback just about the other upgrades?
Unbelievable. I've never been this popular walking through the South Concourse of any day of my life. I actually had women stopping me and thanking me, which definitely has never happened in my life. But, we know that's been a pinch point for so many years. I even had Coach John Casey, if you remember, he used to work in facilities here for a long time, stopped me at the grocery store and said, I told them they should have did that 30 years ago. And we all knew it, but we knew it was going to be a great challenge. But President Morehead and his leadership, we took on a task that that was one of the first projects that we did that did not have a true return on investment. It wasn't to build new suites or new club. It was something for the fans. And when you think about that South 100, that is really some of your most loyal, longtime patrons sitting in that area. So to take that area and improve it with new restrooms, more than double the width concourse, new ingress, egress, new points of sale that are now more Augusta style where it's grab and go. It's just been tremendous. And I think we've seen him, there obviously game 1, game 2, there's things we need to improve, but I think by game 3 we were running pretty well, and hopefully even more improvements in game 4.
Do you know what the biggest video board is in college basketball now?
Through our research right now, Tanner may be able to tell, but I think the biggest one's around 2,300 square feet. It's to our research. Again, there may be somewhere.
Which one is it?
San Jose State. And this is, we're looking at, everything's in renderings and rough drafts right now, but the goal is to be around 7,000 square feet if you look at the space we have on that board. Now, once you get through the design, see what you can actually build, we'll see, but that's the goal right now.
So 24, 25 would be the earliest for that?
24, 25, because the size is so big of the video board that we're going to have to actually upgrade some HVAC components because of the massiveness of the video board and the heat it's going to put off to circulate air. So, yeah.
How big of a size relief was it when you found out the stadium was structurally sound? There was no problem.
I was never truly worried because I had a baseline understanding of what the issue was. And then once I saw the fix and they explained it to me even more, it made a lot of sense. And then basically leaving room where there's movement between those points to move and all the remediation done. And I really cannot wait to get you on there and see it. Coach Wes Johnson said it today at the board meeting. He'd never really been in there. And he walked in there and he was like, this place is amazing. So I think it's really going to be a dramatic effect. We've seen it. I may not have a true appreciation for it because I've seen it happen in stages, the repairs, but I'm interested to see y'all's feeling when you first walk in there for the first time and see it.
Stegmania is not a student-only thing.
It's not student-only, but it's student-driven. It's mainly for the students, but it's open to others as well.
Okay.
But, yeah. So you're welcome. I know you're a Jeezy fan. You're welcome to come as well.
Yeah.
What would you just tell fans that go into Stegman, just what they can anticipate and just how different it looks?
I think what they're going to see, they may not even notice it. Maybe I'm just too much of a facilities nerd to really focus and notice it. But I think what they would see is if they've been in more modern arenas where everything's blacked out at the top, it's going to feel a lot more modern and new. And they may not even notice much of a difference. But I think just the general feeling, when you combine that with the work we've done previously with the new black seating and the work that's been done, I think it really gives it a much more modern feel. And I know the honeycomb was a unique facet of Stegman, but I think before it was painted, it probably did show some aging. I think the uniform coloring just really modernized it, but you could still see the pattern somewhat, so I think you could still attribute the honeycomb effect, but now it's a much more modern way, if that makes sense.
I know in August you guys announced a partnership with Creature Comforts, its official tap room, I believe, of UGA. With that in mind, is there any discussion or thought about opening up alcohol sales to the entire Sanford Stadium, or is that still just sort of limited to the suite level?
That's something we'll continue to study and monitor. Before we even got there, before I could even get there with President Morehead, I needed to make sure from our standpoint that we could functionally operate, because again, the issues we had in the South 100, we didn't have enough points of sale. Again, that's why the bridge is so important. If we're ever really to take that task on, we're going to need that space to do it. So right now, this year is about evaluating where we are in terms of points of sale, egress, ingress, and if we could even handle that to take that on. So that's something that we're always studying and look at. But before I really put that ask out there, we got to make sure that we're buttoned up from an operational standpoint, because the most important thing is safety in our facility. So I've got to make sure from an egress standpoint that we're going to be okay first and foremost.
President Morehead, have you engaged with the president of Florida, Sass, about the future of the series after 25 in terms of where you guys might play if there's a stadium renovation? Have you talked to the mayor of Jacksonville University?
Well, I've had a number of conversations with President Sass, and actually as recently as last week, but I think that is more of an athletic director matter, and so he and I have not had conversations about that issue.
Are you guys looking to play those games other neutral sites?
Yeah, so we're working directly with Florida to look at all options, whether it's on campus or other neutral sites. So that's something, that process is ongoing right now.
What about the mayor? Have you talked to her?
I have not.
Jerry, I have an NCAA question. On the Tez Walker situation, is this a kind of an indication that you all want to draw the line on multi-time transfers?
Well, the board of directors responded to what we were hearing, not only from coaches and athletic directors, but what we were hearing from academic support leadership, that if we want to continue to have successful graduation rates, we can't have student athletes moving around from institution to institution without that adversely impacting their pathway toward graduation. So there was a lot of study that went into the plan that was unanimously supported by all of the conferences, I think all 32, that we give everyone one transfer with no restrictions, but that after that, if they're going to start transferring more than once, that there should be really compelling reasons to allow them to be immediately eligible. Otherwise, their focus should be on their academics during that second transfer for the first year.
And there was no thought to kind of giving a pass to players who were transferred before the new guidelines were?
Well, but those new guidelines were announced the August before they became effective. Everyone knew they were coming the previous August. But, I'm not involved in making the decisions about who's eligible or who's not eligible. There's a committee that does that. There was a review committee for mental health in that particular case that reviewed that matter. I don't get involved in deciding who's eligible or who's not eligible or who should get relief from the rule.
Where do you, in your opinion, Jerry, where do you feel like the issues with NIL are from the standpoint of them not being used as the intention that they were in terms of upfront guarantees for people to come to attend, as opposed to being something that is earned through your, accomplishments at an institution?
Well, I think we've got a lot of problems in the NIL area, and both President Charlie Baker at the NCAA and Commissioner Sankey in the Southeastern Conference have put forward very strong proposals and plans to try to address the problems that we have in college athletics, and we're at a point where we need Congress to act, and to act soon.
Do you feel like it's closer or imminent?
I don't know. I mean, there's obviously Congress is struggling right now to just pass a budget. So, but we need them to move quickly in this area. It can't wait much longer, in my view.
Josh, we heard a little bit from Jabri about the new basketball weight room. Just what's the initial feedback you've gotten about how it's come together?
Extremely positive. And that was one, like he said, that was like Tanner and Matt said, that was one of the key things that Coach Mike White and Abe asked for when they got here, was a basketball only weight room, which then has provided great relief of our other weight room, which had been surfacing a number of sports. We're also building a weight room as part of the softball project out there, so we'll be able to add sports out there. So really taking the pressure off all our weight rooms and better serve all student athletes, because a lot of them are wanting to work out at the same times. So the way in which they train in basketball throughout the day with different groups is really giving them flexibility. So I think it's really improving the way they can train and specify how they're training with different positions.
How did take two more questions? How did Jarvis Jones' arrest for reckless driving impact the consideration of him remaining as a UGA Circle of Honor recipient?
He's still a Circle of Honor recipient.
Well, I know, but what were the deliberations? Was there any thoughts of
I decided to keep him as a Circle of Honor inductee. Decision I made.
Just a little bit on that note, just where are you? Obviously, the institution is facing some legal actions from outside because of the crash. Is there any update on that?
Yeah, it's ongoing, ongoing legal matter, and I can't comment on a legal matter at this time.
Thanks.